Okay, welcome back. And we're looking at the situation in Edo State. We have with us Kasima Fegwa, media consultant, APC member, former commissioner for information in the place. And as he said at the top, when the time comes, his hat will be in the ring. And in studio here, of course, I just finished speaking with Honorable Kehinde Odeneye. So, Kazim, the point I left on was that, look, yeah, in fact, it was Kennedy who brought it up that, look, politicians, no permanent interests, no permanent foes, always, I beg your pardon, no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. Can you not see, you being something of a scholar yourself, a political scholar, can you not see a situation where, as often happens in politics, somebody that was seen as one kind of an enemy like that might actually be found in the fold again, working for the party? After all, we have seen that in the recent past. People who have said anyhow about the party have also been seen to be working for the party, and the party was successful.
Well, anything is possible in politics, but not my own kind of politics. I like to call a spade a spade. Yes, I like to call a spade, no matter whose horse is God. Because those who speak truth in politics, they say they don't go far. Only those who tell lies and try to manipulate situations, behave like members of Jacobian Scandal Club, deploy all the tricks of gerrymandering just to get results. I'm different from that. I'm not an itinerant politician. I'm a media consultant who finds himself in political circle, and so I had to lend my voice. But essentially, those of us who are supporting Adams Oshomole and try to, celebrate the fact that his dignity and respect is being restored by the fact that he won election as a senator when they thought that he was no longer needed by his people. Those of us who fall in that category will not allow a Philip Shaibu to come and pollute our environment again. Having called Oshomole all manners of names and all of that, even if Oshomole as an individual decides to embrace him, he will find a hostile environment around Adams Oshomole from those of us who are part and parcel of Oshomole's foot soldiers. That's one. Secondly, you see, there has to be punishment for bad behavior. And for a Philip Shaibu who was nobody and who became somebody by virtue of the benevolence of his political godfather, there has to be some level of reprimand, for the actions he took, and there has to be, some level of punishment for what he did. And so if in the final analysis, Oshomole decides to have him as one of his foot soldiers, good for him. But I can assure you that 95% of those of us in Oshomole's camp don't want to hear anything about Philip Shaibu or even Obaseki. That was why even the attendance of Adams Oshomole of the 60th Midwestern Region Colloquium held in Benin was received by mixed feelings from a lot of us. We had to tell Oshomole that he had no business going to attend an event called by the state governor, to the point that he's even having a handshake and they are talking tete-a-tete and all of that. Some of us have voiced our resentment about that. And so, if people think that...
Sorry to interrupt you, Kazim. I beg your pardon. Let me bring in our first caller. Good morning, Mr. George, calling in from Lagos.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Uncle Yori, as far as I'm concerned, what is happening in Edo State is a case of dogs eating dogs. We were all here, Uncle Yori, when Oshomole brought Obaseki from Dangote Group to be his chief of staff. This man turned around at a point and started insulting Oshomole before the Edo people, that he did not go to school. He did this, he did that. When he brought you as chief of staff to work with him, you didn't see him as an illiterate at that time. You were enjoying all the benefits and the money. And now, because you want to have your way in the way that is not convenient for your boss, you now started calling him names. He used that propaganda, that blackmail and falsehood to deceive Edo people before he was able to come to PDP and carry the same place. Wike got to know about him and come back to apologize to Oshomole. We all saw all these things. The same thing with his deputy. That one also betrayed Oshomole. Today, look at the two of them. That's what Mr. Fegba was saying, that what is playing out is the law of karma. What goes around must always come around. So, as far as I'm concerned, Okuyori, let the dogs eat the dogs.
Okay.
Two of them do not qualify to be the leaders of Edo State. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you, Mr. George, calling in from Ikeja in Lagos. It looks like, and we do invite either the camp of His Excellency the Governor, Obaseki, or, for that matter, His Excellency the Deputy Governor, Shaibu of Edo State. If they're watching, by all means, feel free to call in and let's hear it from your point of view. But everybody seems to be on the same side in this conversation, which is that, well, when I just look at it, analyze it, Mr. George just finished it up and he summarized what you gentlemen have already said, that they're getting exactly their just dessert. And as I said, the only hope they will now have is, if the PDP manages to, actually put them forward as, candidates, then it will be up to the good people of Edo State. And I've already asked that question. So what, in your impression, would the good people of Edo State say? And Kazima started off by saying that you can't mess with the people of Edo State. They're very highly knowledgeable, very exposed, and politically educated. In short, he's saying that he's not sure that there's any pathway there.
Yeah, as I said earlier too, politicians have to be very careful. And it's not just politicians, because even those that are non-politicians can also learn from the behaviors of politicians. Sometimes politicians feel that at any point in time, they can always have their ways. But things have started changing. And people have now started looking at characters. Unlike before, when anybody can just get into any office.
On the reputation of the party.
On the reputation of the party. But nowadays, people are looking at, what have you done before? What are you doing? What can you offer? And that is the basis we have now. So I want to also believe that the people of Edo State are watching carefully. It's not even a matter of one political party or the other. They are watching carefully, and they are seeing antecedents of their leaders. And this will also let them know the kind of leadership they desire and they want to have in 2024. But sincerely, if I'm in Edo State, I think PDP being, Obaseki being the leader of PDP, has written a script. And Shaibu, also being the deputy governor, has also written his own script of what kind of leaders they are. Because if you put Shaibu again as the governor, definitely what he is claiming that Obaseki is doing to him now, he will also do to another person. And this whole scenario is, I think, is a caution to all of us that are politicians, both governors, deputy governors, commissioners, everybody. Because our characters matter. And people out there are looking up onto us as leaders. And we must show those traits of good leadership. In Edo State, they have not shown that good trait of leadership. And one thing you find out now is that it is the Edo people that are suffering. Because where two elephants fight, the grass suffers. So now, the Edo people are the grass, while these two leaders are fighting. And I think it behoves on Edo people to demand for good leadership. And that is very good. That's why I said I am very happy with what is happening. And you can also hear Kasim say, regardless of the fact that Kasim wants to aspire, nobody will come from Edo State and be happy with what is happening here now. You have a governor that is ascribing his failure to one particular sector, saying federal government has not done this, this federal government road. What happens to governors of states that have been constructing federal roads and been given back their money? We have people like that.
Okay.
Go to Borno State. Go to Borno State. Look at what the governor is doing. Yes. Everybody in Nigeria is giving that governor a thumb up. Regardless of the damages that Boko Haram has done, go to their schools. You will see fantastic structures.
That with what Kazim has just been saying.
That is it.
And also think Kazim reminded us that there's no way you're going to forget 14 legitimately elected legislators that were prevented
from giving dividend of democracy back to the people that elected.
Oh, well. Some Olabalogun has called in from the UK. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
Okay. Thank you very much, Uncle Yori. What I see today, Obaseki and Shaibu, sir, is a straightforward thing. Number one, I would like us to go back and remember when they started all over, Shaibu and Obaseki, they went to the Oba, if you can remember. And the Oba said, Shaibu, I will hold you responsible if anything happens. Because Obaseki knows at that time he cannot do it alone. He's very, very smart. He carries Shaibu along. Shaibu is a politician to the core, which we know. Obaseki is not. Now, what has happened within them, I will just appeal to the other camp of Oshomole. They should behave like Tinubu. We know a lot of people have offended Tinubu, but he has a spirit of forgiveness even before the offense. So I'm appealing to them. If they come to APC, they should say, okay, fine. You have been beaten, and then you are welcome. So many of them have done in APC to Tinubu. We know what happened to them. We know they all come back. So if these guys want to come back, to me, as a person, I'm not a politician, but I'm looking at the other politicians, the way they welcome them back. They have seen it now. Shaibu is the loser in all this. Obaseki has nothing to lose because Shaibu's political career, I don't know what's going to happen after this. I don't know. They should look at those that did it in Awolowo's time, sir. Those that betrayed Awolowo. We could remember what happened to them one by one. That's where I will end my case, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You ended your case on a half sentence, which I think most observers of the politics, especially in the Western region, fully understand, are able to complete that sentence. Kazim, even at the risk of repetition, Mr. Olabalogun calling in from the UK was then leaning on that particular aspect of, well, Ashwaju, the national leader of APC, he's known for his attitude to these things, and he was actually making an appeal. When I said at the risk of being repetitive, you've already said it. You've already said it, that you don't care what goes on, but 95% of the people might not be comfortable with what their leader might say if he goes towards that particular direction of forgiveness, because they think that what has been done is so abominable that it cannot be forgiven and forgotten. So what would you say to Mr. Balogun?
In the Bible, they say the prodigal son, when he returned, he was still accepted. But in this case, it is very injurious, very uncalled for a man who supposedly sees himself as his political son to his father, going on national, global television to say that his father is suffering from psychiatric affliction and that he needs to go to a psychiatric home for his mental fecundity to be examined. That is criminal. You see, you can play politics and try to show up certain indecent behavior, but not to the extent of, assuming the role of a personal physician to a man who is supposed to be your father, who has been your benefactor from your university days and all of that. So, I don't know, Olabalogun may have the heart of forgiving, but he may not have the heart to forget. We may forgive Philip Shaibu, but we will not forget. And because we are not forgetting, it will be switching into our behavior towards him if we see him around us. if we see him around Oshomole. We are not going to live the life of Oshomole for him. But as politicians, as those who go to their various wards and communities to go and campaign for election and stand to defend those elections, Oshomole alone cannot do it. So he needs people around him and people who can be trusted with certain responsibilities without the fear of being betrayed. You see, betrayal is so common in politics, and that is why we look down with scorn on politicians and say, are they not the same? Are they not the same? Just like what you had in pre-independence America when they just gained independence and people were trying to scramble for power. They formed all manners of Jacobian scandal club where they scandalize you if they see that you are too close to the powers that be, and all of that. All this manner of gerrymandering. So,
one moment, please. I beg your pardon. One moment, please. Kehinde has called in from Abuja. Good morning to you, Kehinde.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yeah.
In fact, I will first want to greet my two
our two guests.
Men. Yes, two guests. Mr. Kehinde. In fact, the two are my mentor. Mr. TVC.
Okay, yeah. Your greeting has been noted, has been heard.
The two are my mentor. The two are people I know very, very well.
Okay.
In fact, the Mr. Kehinde that I can see here, is a governor that we never had in Ogun State, but I'm sure he's still coming back by God's grace. Mr. Casey, I greet you too.
Hello, who were you addressing? Were you addressing Mr. Fegbua? Yes. Oh, we lost the connection, but I think he was extending salutations to you, Kazim. He said, like many people would, in your beloved Edo State, he knows you very well. It might not be in a personal capacity, it might be in a governance or public political capacity, but unfortunately we lost that connection. But that gentleman called in, that was from Abuja. He was going to say something, could not say, but we got the lie of the ground, at least from the pair of you with us this morning. For some reason, supporters, representatives, or even they themselves of the governor and the deputy governor have not called in. We would have liked to hear from them because we just wanted to look at the conflict and the 2024 governorship election, and it so happens that the direction that you gentlemen have, expressed as being your convictions, it's not exactly favorable to them. But still, you know how it is in news. You want to hear from that other side, if at all possible. Whereas, because the viewer and whoever is consuming the information, whether it is read or in television or in radio, they probably, know what they see and know what conclusion they have made. But sometimes these things can change as a result of this. Now, if it were the way it is, what you two gentlemen have said this morning, it's really just locking down the position of anybody who does not see anything favorable in that sector. So that's why I was desperately looking for someone. There must be someone who's going to speak for them. And for some reason, those people they're maintaining their peace. They're not calling in to say, no, you don't get it. Let me explain further. Let me tell you what has not been said. That, unfortunately, has not happened. Are you surprised at that?
I'm not surprised. I probably will be thinking that maybe they're taking their time.
Yes.
And when the election comes closer, maybe TVC will also give the two supporters opportunity to come and view their opinions here. But sincerely, as I said earlier too, it's not just about politicians. It is about what Yoruba call omoluabi.
Omoluabi, character.
Yes, character. Very, very important.
Let me just take our last call because Elder David has called in. Okay. Good morning to you, Elder David.
Good morning, Sir Yorin. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Let me thank the two gentlemen there, Afegbo and Kehinde.
Yes.
I appreciate their contribution. With my friend, politics is 3 ways. Politics is conflict resolution, and there's no permanent enemy there. But the betrayal there have nothing to do with politics. If betrayal politics, it has been carried too far. Yes, it is very unfortunate that Edo, a regional headquarters in 1963, that is expressing what is happening today. Oshimole is a highly respected man, and may God bless him. He was tried the Labour Congress president. He was tried the governor of Edo State. We know what he did. And the two gentlemen you are talking about are products of Oshimole. And they betrayed the Edo people by disrespecting that man. They have sinned against God and humanity.
Oh dear.
And nobody should sorry for the two of them. I mark you down. PDP will never exist in Edo State again because tears come out from my eyes when I'm hearing from Edo. I'm from Edo State. Nobody is happy. And may God bless Nigeria. And may God bless the good people of Edo State. The two of them should get out and be ashamed of themselves and beg God for forgiveness.
Okay,
Yes,
Elder David. Okay, thank you very much, Elder David. Oh dear, that was too. Thank you very much. So, Kazim, there you have it. Just a last word, please. Bullet points, maybe about 30 seconds.
Thank you for the discussion. It is an ongoing discussion. Every day, unveils a new perspective to the political crisis in Edo State. But I think it's a clarion call on the good people of APC in the state to put its act together. We're going to come together and articulate issues that will help us defeat the PDP in Edo in 2024. If they sustain this fight, the election may come maybe faster than expected. Because, like I told you, I would love the two of them to be impeached so that Edo can have a breath of fresh air. And again, you see, when you see the traits, the trajectory of what has been happening. Your guest there, Ken, they mentioned Wiki. Obaseki fell out with him. Dan Obi, who was the chairman of the party in the state for some time, and before he became vice chairman of the zone, he was suspended until he restored himself through the court. Obaseki is not in talking terms with him, and so many other persons. His former commissioner Ewanta is also out, and they are all quarreling. His former chief of staff, Taiwo Akerele, they are all out and quarreling. Why must it be quarrel around number one citizen of the state? Why must it be?
Very much,
so
Kazim.
it's quite unfortunate, but I pray that something good will come. Maybe when you elect me as governor of Edo State, you will see governance in action.
Thank you very much. You added that line out there. Thank you very much, Kazim Afebwa, media consultant, member of APC, former commissioner in Edo State. Maybe Kazim didn't obey my 30-second request.
I will obey.
30 seconds.
What I would just say is that we keep our hands, we keep washing.
And keep our fingers crossed.
Keep our fingers crossed. But at the same time, there is a caution to leaders that we have to continuously show leadership to the people we are supposed to give leadership to. And that is very important.
That's a fine place to
That's very
leave it.
important.
I want to thank you very much, Honorable Kehinde Odene, a former member of the House of Representatives.
Thank you,
gentlemen. Thank you very much. Once more, shout out to Honorable Kasima Fegbua there, and of course, our regards to you in studio here, Kehinde Odene. That's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folane. Bye-bye for now.